Okay, so I want you to go to your stream in Algebra 2 and go to Tuesday, October 20th date. So I'm going to have your videos posted here, but what I want you to do is I want you to go back to the PowerPoint where we were today. And so we were looking at this PowerPoint and we were looking at how to solve looking at the graphs or finding the zeros of the graph. And we said, okay, the zeros here would be at -1 and 3 because that's where our graph is crossing the x-axis at these 2 points. So, and then we said, okay, well here it's at -3 and 4. And then this one would actually have no real solution because it's not crossing the x-axis at all. Okay, but then our next step is we got to solving quadratics algebraically by factoring. So that's why you had the factoring homework last night. So if you remember, I said you had to first of all take your quadratic and set it up into standard form. So just to remind you what standard form is, it is ax squared plus bx plus c. And we're always going to set it to equal 0. So like for instance, an example might be like 4x squared plus 2x plus 6 equals 0. So you have your x squared value first, then your x, then your constant, and then equaling 0. So that is standard form. Now your next step is you're going to factor, and then once you factor, you'll set each factor to equal 0. So here we had one already factored out for us in the next PowerPoint slide, and we had 7 times x minus 10 and 3x plus 2 equals 0. So we have 3 factors, and we're going to set each factor to equal 0. So remember I said that's not a true statement, so then here we would add 10 to both sides. And then we have 3x plus 2 equals 0. So we would subtract the 2 to both sides. We have 3x equals -2, and then divide everything by 3. And so x equals 10, and x equals -2/3. So that would be our solution for that one, and there you go. Now this one, we have 5x squared plus 31x plus 6. So 5x squared plus 31x plus 6 equals 0. Okay, so the first thing I would do is I would set up my x, and we're going to multiply a times c up here, which is going to be 5 times 6, which is 30. And then below, we're going to put b, which is 31. We worked this one in class. And I said, okay, factors of 30, that has a sum of 31. And so you guys said 30 and 1. So now we're going to say, okay, x plus 30 and x plus 1 equals 0. But then don't forget, you have to divide those by your a value. So now that's going to become x plus 6, and then 5x plus 1 equals 0. So there's your factors. So now my next step is I'm going to set each factor to equal 0. So we would subtract 6. And then here we're going to subtract 1. We get 5x equals -1, and then divide by 5. And x equals 1/5, and that would be your solution. So that's how you work that one. Okay, so now we're going to scroll on to the next one here. Let me turn my page in my notebook. Okay, so we have 7x squared minus 54x plus 35 equals 0. Okay, so I'm going to set up my little x. And so now we're going to say 7 times 35. So 35 times 7, that's 5, carry the 3, 21, 24, 245. So that's a times c, and then -54. So we want factors of 275 that is going to equal -54. Now this one is like one of the ones you were factoring earlier. Sorry, I had to take my jacket off, I'm hot. Okay, so that would be, 245, and I don't have a calculator. Let me see if I put my calculator in my bag. Hold on. Oh, yay, I did. Okay, so we're going to say, okay, 245, and I'm just going to kind of play around with that and say divide that by 5, enter, and that's 49. And so here we would say, okay, they're both going to be the same, so we really want to sum of 54, so 49 and 5 are going to be what we're going to use, 49 and 5. Okay, so now I'm going to set up my factors. X, they're both going to be negative because my third term is a positive and my middle term is a negative. X minus 49 and X minus 5, then we're going to divide by 7. So now we have X minus 7 and then 7X minus 5, because move that 7 to the front, equals 0. And then you're going to set each factor to equal 0. And solve for X. Divide by 7. So X is equal to 7 and X is equal to 5/7. And so we see here that is our answer. So now we have another one, which is going to be 2x squared minus x minus 6 equals 0. So I'm going to use my x method, and we're going to say, okay, a times c is negative 12, then negative 1. So we want factors of negative 12. It has a difference of negative 1, and that would be negative 4 and positive 3. Because negative 4 times 3 is 12, negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. So now we're just going to factor that to x minus 4. Sorry about that, it's a little messy. And then x plus 3. Okay, so now we're going to divide those by the a value 2. And we get x minus 2 and 2x plus 3 equals 0. Set each factor to equal 0. Okay, add your 2. X equals 2. Subtract your 3. 2x equals negative 3. Divide by 2. And so x is equal to negative 3 over 2, and x equals 2. That's where our parabola is crossing the x-axis. Okay, so we're not going to do systems. So that's it. That's all we're going to do for that. Now let's go ahead and take a look. I accidentally knocked it down, so give me just a second. Actually, here it is. Okay, so now, okay, so here, these are the examples that we worked in class on this worksheet. So let me see if I put your homework in yet. Yes, actually, yeah, there's your homework for tonight. It's underneath classwork, and it's going to be in, I put Tuesday, October 19th. I need to change that to the 20th. But tonight for homework, I want you to do this worksheet. So it looks like it has... you do not have to do number 9. Do not do the system. So you just have to go through number 8. I don't even think it has 8 problems. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 problems here, and then it looks like 2 graphing problems. So one says solve for x, and the other one says find the solution. So remember, the solution is where it is crossing the x-axis, and we'll look at those. And I'm sorry, that was a little wonky. So there's not much to do. So that is what I want you to work on and solve those for homework. And we'll talk about that more when I get back on Wednesday. Have a good day.